welcome to Barca News. It is September 15th, 2025. And I have good news in regards to the Spotify Camp Nou. Also, Real Madrid doing Real Madrid things and being a ridiculous and small-minded club. We're going to talk about that. And finally, more information about what happened with Lamine Yamal while with the Spanish national team. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and this is the Barca News Live Podcast, which is on every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, where not only we discuss Barcelona news, but where I also get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments, answering any questions, and getting the discussion going. For those of you who will be watching when the podcast ends, I will be putting timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline in case you do want to skip through the discussion and get straight into the news. Having said all that, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. It's free, it takes a second, and it helps this channel grow. If you're looking for any Barcelona jerseys, merchandise, not just from Barcelona, any football team, any sports team around the world, you can head to Goal Kids, Kit Bag, or Fanatics. And if you are looking to place any sports bet, not just on Barcelona matches, but on any sporting event around the world, you can head to Bet Us. All the links for Kit Bag, Goal Kids, Fanatics, Bet Us, they're all in the description. If you click on them, you automatically get discounts, offers, just depending on what kind of deals that website is running for that day. All right, having said all that, let's dive right into the news. And as always, the first segment of this podcast is comprised of multiple bits of news combined together for sake of brevity. Starting with the match against Newcastle, because as you know, on Thursday, Barcelona will kick off the Champions League season, a 2025-2026 Champions League season against Newcastle in what will be an away match. And it's expected that Barcelona will finally debut their third kit. As you know, so far, Barcelona have not been able to debut their third kit because the kit selector, if you don't know what the kit selector is, it's an application that all La Liga clubs use. If once a match comes up, you upload your kits, the other team uploads their kits, and the kit selector tells you whether your kits clash with the other one. So if you're a visitor, you might have to use the your away jersey. If that also clashes with the other team, then you might have to use your third. Well, so far, Barcelona's all three kits were clashing during the first two matches with the kits of the home teams that Barcelona played against. So, of course, Barcelona had to use the third kit from last season, the green one, that ugly green one. But finally, Barcelona will be able to, wear their third kit this season, and it will be against Newcastle. Now, of course, this kit is the kit that Nike made, kind of reminiscent of the Total 90 era in early 2000s. It's blue and, I guess, orange, salmon. I don't know what color you would call that. And I gotta say, even though I'm not a huge fan of this kit, I do like it better than the home kit. But I really like the training kits the third training kits. I don't know if you've seen them, the training kits, the shirts that they use during warm-up sessions and training sessions, but I really like them. I really like them. If you haven't seen them, check them out. But let me know your thoughts about this third kit that Barcelona will wear against Newcastle in our Champions League match kickoff. Now, on to that next bit of news, because we do have good news, and this good news is in regards to Frenkie de Jong. Because Frenkie now is recovered from his injury, and he could be included in the squad list for the Newcastle match. Now, as you know, Frenkie de Jong was with the Netherlands during the FIFA international break. During the first match that the Netherlands played during his break, which was against Poland, he felt some tension, some discomfort in his gluteus muscle. He was subbed out, and then the Netherlands training camp decided that he wasn't fit enough to play the second match of the international break, so he got sent back home to Barcelona. He underwent medical exams. Barcelona officially announced that, yes, Frenkie de Jong was injured, but it was a minor injury. As a result, he missed yesterday's match against Valencia, but now Frenkie looks like he has recovered. He's been training with the group. In fact, he had already trained with the group before the Valencia match on Saturday. He trained with the group. But nonetheless, of course, Flick was not going to include him because Flick is extra cautious with his players. But Frenkie is recovered. He's training with the group, and he could be included in the squad list against Newcastle. And if he is, we'll see whether he gets minutes, whether he starts or not. Probably not. I don't see, Hansi Flick risking Frenkie, even if he's fully recovered. If he is included in the squad list, I'm sure he'll most likely be a substitute. But, well, of course, we'll have to wait and see. But the good news is that Frenkie de Jong is recovered from his injury. Now, speaking of injuries, we got some news that's not directly related to Barcelona, but it is a little bit because it is in regards to a former Barcelona player, because today Samuel Umtiti announced his retirement from football at the age of 31. Very young for, well, maybe not very young, but definitely young for a football player. Especially now with football players, even if you cannot compete in European football, you can always go to something like that, MLS, Saudi, whatever, and compete until you're 36, 37, 38. But Umtiti cutting his career short, of course, due to those injuries. As you know, back in 2018, Umtiti suffered a knee injury. Barcelona advised him that he undergo surgery. He refused to because he wanted to play the World Cup with France. He did. He won the World Cup, but of course, that cost him his career because after that, it was injury after injury after injury for Samuel Umtiti, and he went from being one of the best center backs in the world to just being a complete ghost, a shell of himself, and just someone that was mostly injured. Barcelona ended up offloading him to Lecce on loan for free. They even covered his full salary, in hopes that he can recover his form and hopefully attract some interest. He did. Lille signed him, but he spent a year and a half injured with Lille. So eventually this June 30th, his contract expired. Lille did not renew him. He was without a club. He had until today, September 15th, to find a new club because even though the summer transfer market is closed, for free agents, it remains open a little bit longer. So today was the last day for Samuel Umtiti to be able to find a club. He wasn't able to find any clubs to sign him, so he has officially announced his retirement, which is, it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad because I don't know if some of you recall Umtiti back in his glory days. He was an incredible center back. Again, one of the best center backs in the world, but his desire to play the World Cup, of course, ended up costing him his career, which I posed this question last time I mentioned this news when I told you that Umtiti was considering retirement. I told you, what do you think? Do you think it was worth it? Because on one hand, yes, he won the World Cup, the ultimate prize in football. But on the other hand, well, he sacrificed his entire career. So what do you guys think? Do you think it was worth it? Or do you think it would have been better for him to get the surgery, miss out on winning the World Cup, but then, continue playing? Or do you think it was worth sacrificing his career for the glory of winning the World Cup with France? Let me know in the chat section or in the comment section if you're watching this podcast once it ends. Sorry, my nose is very itchy. Not because I was doing cocaine or anything like that, but my allergies are really bad in the fall. Like, I get allergies all 3 seasons, but, people usually their allergies the worst in spring. Mine is in the fall. It's so weird. But, yeah, it's not a coke habit, I promise. It's just simply my allergies because I feel like my nose is so itchy. Like, I got ants walking in there. But, anyways, let's do the comment section, and then we are going to talk about the Camp Nou because they have good news in regards to the Camp Nou. Zeke Travel says, oh, my God, hold on. See what I mean about these allergies. I think there's another one coming. Woo! Mamma mia. Okay. Zeke says, Lamine has to realize how the team performed without him and has to come back with that team winning mindset. I know he wants to improve on his goal scoring, but he does not need to force it. I don't think Lamine has ever had a problem with the team mentality. I mean, Lamine is always playing for the team, so I don't think that's an issue. But yeah. David says, what's up, What's up, Momo? These Madridistas and their ideas, bro. They thought Barca was finished, but little do they know that flick ball is little by little coming back. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about Madrid in a little bit because they are currently, once again, embarrassing themselves. Honestly, if I was a Madrid fan, I would be so mad at my club for what they're doing because they are looking ridiculous. They are embarrassing themselves. They look like a totally small club. It's just ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous what they're doing. It's so embarrassing. But we'll talk about it in a little bit. Rex says, "Good morning, Mo. Glad I could meet up this Tuesday morning, 12:58 a.m. Tuesday Nigerian time." Well, thank you, my friend, for being up so late, or I guess so early, depends on what you're doing. But thank you for joining the podcast and for your comment. Roger says, Good evening, Mo. Turning in from Tobago, West Indies. Do you think Ronald would start on Thursday? I don't think so. Now, of course, this is your guess is as good as mine because as we've seen with Flick, you never know, right? You think he's going to do one thing and he does the complete opposite, right? So with Flick, you never know. So, of course, my guess is as good as yours, but I don't. I've been seeing Flick, trying different things out. He's tried Pau with Araujo, Pau with Christensen with Eric, Pau with Eric. And so far, the best working one has been Pau and Eric Garcia, right? So I have a feeling that that's what he's going to go for. But who knows? He might choose Araujo because Newcastle have some pretty tall attackers. So he might choose Araujo, for the height advantage. But if I had to pick, I would pick Garcia and Eric Garcia. But again, I'm not Flick, and my guess is as good as yours. Diamond says, "Hi, Mo. Happy to be on the chat with you. People, again, I told one of my friends that Barcelona will win 6-0, and it came true up to now. I'm still looking at the game. I love it. Maybe you should have went to the casino and, put some money on it. But that's awesome, man. And Al-Haji says, "What's up, Mo? My name is Al-Haji Bieber Sese from Sierra Leone. Any updates from Gabi and the 1-1 rule?" No updates on the 1-1 rule. Don't expect an update for a while. But as far as Gabi, he's still doing conservative treatment. He had a meeting with the doctors on, was it Saturday? Was it Friday? They did some tests on him. It looks like it's improving. His knee's improving a little bit. So he's going to do another week of conservative treatment. They'll meet again with him I think it's Friday or Saturday, a week from when they did it last time. They'll do more testing. If it's still improving, then they'll continue doing conservative treatment. If it's not improving, then they'll consider surgery, an arthroscopic surgery, to go in there and clean up the area. And now, of course, would mean that Gabi could be out for approximately 5 weeks. So for now, he's doing conservative treatment. We'll see how he responds to it. And depending on his response, we'll know whether he will have to undergo surgery or not. All right, let's get back to the news, and then we'll do more comments. But let's talk about the good news of today, because we do have a good update in regards to the Spotify Camp Nou, because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have obtained the certificate of completion, which they have turned over to the city. Now, if you're new to the channel, maybe you don't watch all the videos, maybe you're not up to date with what's going on with the Camp Nou, certificate of completion is something that you turn over to the city once you're done building. Let's say you want to build a store. You build it. Once the store is fully built, ready, you turn in a certificate to the city. You say, "Hey, look, my store is built, is ready." The city says, "Okay, we're going to inspect it." They send the inspectors. They go. They check out your store. If everything's built up to code, everything's good to go, then the city will give you a permit of occupancy, and with that permit, you can officially open for business, right? You can open a store and have people go in and out of your store, right? So same thing applies here for the stadium. Of course, Barcelona did reach a special deal with the city to let them go back in phases, because usually when you open a business, you have to have the entire building ready, right? The stadium is not going to be entirely ready when Barcelona go back. Not even the first 2 rings that Barcelona were hoping to use when they went back. So instead, they reached a special agreement with the city that will let them go back in phases, right? First phase is the 1A phase that would only host 27,000 people. That's the section behind goal and the section on the left. So Barcelona have finished building those sections. Those 2 sections are built. They're ready. They turned over the certificate of completion to the city. The city said, "Okay, let me inspect it." They sent the inspectors. They found a lot of stuff that had been damaged by heavy rains. So the city said, "Sorry, I can't give you the permit. You need to fix those things that have been damaged." And they gave them a list. So Barcelona got back to work. They started fixing everything. And now, once again, they have submitted the certificate telling the city, "Hey, those 2 sections, not only are they ready, we've fixed everything that you told us to fix. We're good to go. Please send your inspectors. So now the city will send their inspectors again. They'll inspect those two sections, the 1A section. And if everything looks good, then the city will issue Barcelona the permit, and Barcelona will be able to once again host matches at the Camp Nou only in those two sections, behind South Goal and on the left side of the stadium. 27,000 people, but nonetheless much better than the 6,000 people at the Estadio Johan Cruyff. So the good news is the construction is done on those two sections. Barcelona have submitted the paperwork, and now we await the inspection. Hopefully there's nothing else wrong so we can get the permit. If there is stuff wrong, obviously the city will say, sorry, you have to go back and fix those things, and then let us know again. But hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully the city will issue us a permit, and who knows, we might be back by... They're not ruling out returning to the Camp Nou against Getafe, which is next weekend, depending on how fast the inspection happens. But most likely it's going to be Real Sociedad, which is the following match after Getafe. Again, all this depends on the inspection. If the inspection comes back and says there's a million things wrong and you need to fix them all, we might be talking maybe about October. But for now, they're not ruling out a Getafe return. I doubt it. I mean, that's only in a few days. But we could be seeing a return to the Camp Nou against Real Sociedad, which is, of course, the week after this weekend. So, like in 2 weeks. But that's the good news. Certificate is complete. It's turned to the city. Now we await the inspection of the city, which, of course, includes a lot of inspections, not just the city, that also the police, fire, all those they go to inspect it to make sure, the emergency exits are right. There's a evacuation plan in case there's a fire, an earthquake, blah, blah, blah. So lots of inspections, but hopefully we will pass with flying colors, and hopefully we'll get our permit pretty soon. All right, let's get back to the comment section after talking about that amazing news. And then after this, we're going to talk about the ridiculousness and small-mindedness of Real Madrid, because they are a pathetic club. But we're going to talk about it in a little bit. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's see. Emmanuel says, Mo, how are you doing? I hope you're getting ready for our Champions League live, bro. I am doing great, my friend. Unfortunately, I cannot do watch-alongs for the Champions League. Why? Because I work. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm going to watch the match. Don't tell anybody. I'll watch it, while I'm working. I'll be like pretending to work, watching the match. But I cannot do a live because obviously for a live, I have to actually disappear from work. And I can't be just completely gone for 2 hours. People got to be like, where is Mo? So unfortunately, no watch along for the Champions League. But I will watch the match. And of course, afterwards, we'll do the post-match live analysis. Don't worry. And then this weekend, we'll do the watch along for the Getafe match, which hopefully will be back at the Camp Nou. Who knows? I doubt it, though. But hopefully, right? We can all hope and dream. And Shane, as always, with his incredibly generous donation, says, hey, bud, my Lamine Yamal Cup Style number 19 name set came in today. Also went to eBay and snagged up a Copa del Rey patch set. And soon I will be constructing my very own Lamine Yamal Copa del Rey Señera kit. It's gonna be lit. That's awesome, man. Wait, do you know how to sew? Or are you just collecting the patches and then gotta take it to someone like a seamstress or something to sew it? I'm curious, because if you can sew too, that'd be pretty amazing. I mean, you already, from seeing your Camp Nou when I had you as a guest, you seem like already pretty skilled with the electrician part. So if you could also sew, that'd be pretty amazing. But that's pretty cool, man. I did not know you can find. I guess you can find anything on eBay, right? But that's pretty cool. Yeah, that Lamine Yamal on the Señera is going to definitely look good. But thank you, my friend, for your donation and for always supporting the channel. And let's see, Ronaldo, who said, I saw a post that Arsenal is growing genuine interest in Frenkie. Any truth to that yet? I mean, not that I'm aware of, but would Arsenal be interested? Sure. But there's always a difference between interest and actual movement, right? Is Barcelona interested in Julian? Sure. Are they interested in Haaland? Sure. Are they interested in, Mbappe? Maybe if he wasn't at Madrid. But, there's a difference between, you could be interested in a lot of players, but that doesn't mean much, right? In the case of Barcelona, for example, we're broke. We cannot sign any of those players, regardless of how interested we might be. And Arsenal might be interested in Frenkie, but, because he's a good view him as a good midfielder, as someone who would be a good fit, but doesn't mean that they're actually gonna make a move for him, right? Interest is one thing, actual action is another. But I'm not aware of like serious interest. Could they be interested because he's good? Sure. But besides that, I'm not sure. Or maybe it is serious interest and I'm just not aware of it. But yeah, that's my answer. Let's see. Rex says Umtiti gave up his career for the World Cup. Yes, and of course the question is, do you think it was worth it? I want to hear you guys' opinion. Do you think it was worth it? Because again, on one hand, he won the World Cup. I mean, that's the ultimate glory in football. But on the other hand, he completely sacrificed his career. So what would you have done? Would you have won the World Cup and then be done forever? Or would you have gotten a surgery, missed out on the World Cup, but then had a long career where you could have won other trophies, right? Champions League, leagues, cups, super UEFA cups, things that he will never get to win because, of course, he sacrificed his career. So let me know. I'm curious. I don't know what I would do. It's tough. On one hand, of course, I won the World Cup. I mean, it's the freaking World Cup. But to end your career, I mean, if he's 31 now, in 2018, that was 7 years ago, which means he was, 24? Ending your career at 24 years old, that's young, man. That's really, really young. Because remember, he's retiring now, but he technically ended his career back then because, sure, he was still active, but he wasn't doing anything, right? He was always on the bench. So I don't know. Prof says, hello, Mo. How are you doing? Justice Boya from the Gambia. I'm so happy and grateful to see the boys with high-quality intensity and 1-6-0. This is what I always wanted to see. Biscal Barca. Amen, my friend. Biscal Barca. And yes, it was really good to see the team play with high intensity. Hopefully, they've learned their lesson and they've seen the contrast of what it's like when you come out full intensity and maintain that intensity. Well, you get a 6-0 against Valencia. When you come out half asleep and you continue the whole match half asleep, well, we get a 1-1 against Rayo Vallecano, right? So hopefully they've seen the contrast. I mean, that's something that we saw all last season, right? That Barcelona were playing with full intensity all throughout August, September, October, and they were demolishing everybody, winning 5-0, 6-0, 7-0, demolished Madrid, demolished Bayern, demolished everybody. They lower the intensity in the months of November and December because all of a sudden they're like, we're so good. And what happened? We dropped so many points that we almost lost La Liga. So hopefully, the team has seen the contracts. And Shin with another generous donation says, no sewing required. It's all heat transfer like a normal kit you'd buy. And yes, I do it myself. Some of the kits I showed you were done by yours truly, and it's a big-time hobby of mine. That's awesome. Even the Copa del Rey patch, I thought the Copa del Rey patch was sewn, no? I mean, yeah, I know the numbers and the name obviously is heat transfer because even when they sign players, they'll show them at the Camp Nou store and they're like putting their name on the shirt and bringing down the iron, whatever the hell it's called. So I know that, but I thought the patch was sewn because I guess I don't really have Copa del Rey patches, but I have my kids who have La Liga winner patch, and those are sewn because it's like an actual patch. So that's what I was wondering, but that's pretty cool. I'm guessing you have the machine. Is it called an iron? I think it's called an iron, right? So I'm guessing you have the machine and that's how you get to do it, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that you get to do that. Who knows? Maybe one day you can make a business out of it, right? Not a bad idea. But thank you again, my friend, for your donation. And with that, let's get back to the news because we do have to talk about the ridiculous, pathetic club called Real Madrid because once again, they are proving that they are, a pathetic, ridiculous, small-minded club. Now, as you know, Real Madrid have officially become the crybabies of Europe with their consistent crying about how they're victims of refereeing. It's not that they suck. It's not that their team is falling apart. No, it's the referees. It's everybody but them. And we've seen that, of course, over the past 2-3 seasons. We've seen it with the Real Madrid TV, where every time they assign a referee to their match, they publish a video about how this referee's always screwed them. They make a compilation of his errors, to show like they are the victims. The club that has, empirically speaking, most benefited from refereeing errors. This is a fact. This is not opinion. Real Madrid have been the club that most has benefited from refereeing errors, empirically speaking, they continue time and time again to claim that they are the victims of refereeing. Instead of doing an introspect and figuring out, hey, why did we suck so bad last season? No, let's blame it on referees. I mean, can you learn from Flick at least? Can you learn from Xabi, right? Xabi was known for doing this, always choosing excuses, the referees, the grass, the weather, blah, blah, blah. And look what happened to him. His team imploded. And then came Flick and said, no excuses. Even when the referees would make horrible mistakes, he would be like, we should have won anyway. And look at the difference. There's a difference between people who take responsibility and learn from their mistakes and do introspect, see why did I fail, versus people who blame it on everyone else besides them. But no, Madrid wants to be, well, the latter, not the former. They want to be someone who just blames it on everyone else instead of doing an introspect and realize, hey, why do we suck? But of course, that's great for us. If they want to continue crying and being pathetic, let them. That only benefits Barcelona, because as we continue to learn and improve from our mistakes and grow, well, they remain stagnant because they prefer to cry and be the pathetic club that they are right now rather than learning. Now, why am I talking about all of this? Because Real Madrid have outdone themselves once again, because it wasn't enough with all the Real Madrid TV videos. It wasn't enough with like threatening not to show up to the Copa del Rey final. Now, they have announced that they are preparing a dossier, a file with all the refereeing errors against them, accompanied by videos to show how they are victims of bad refereeing, which is fine, whatever. You want to do that, you want to embarrass yourself, you want to be a cry baby, go for it. But here is where it's a problem, because now they're dragging Barcelona into their patheticness. Why am I saying that? Because not only does this dossier include all these videos of these refereeing errors that affected them, but they want to blame Barcelona and Negreira, saying that Barcelona kind of have this power over the football institutions in Spain, which prejudices Real Madrid. And of course, they want to blame the whole Negreira case by saying that's why they keep getting prejudiced by refereeing errors, because of the Negreira case. Now, let's break that down, because, well, it's pretty ridiculous and stupid. To say that Barcelona somehow has power over football institutions, it's not only false, it's beyond moronic. Anybody with an ounce of knowledge about Spanish politics or Spanish history knows that there's absolutely no truth to that, right? La Liga president Javier Tebas, self-declared Madridista. Royal Spanish Football Federation, Pedro Luzan, Madridista, and a good friend of Florentino Perez, the head of the CTA, I forgot his name, worked at the law firm of the Florentino Perez's closest friend, also self-declared Madridista. Everybody who's in power are self-declared Madridistas, including many of the refs who are also self-declared Madridistas. To say that somehow Barcelona has institutional power in the football world of Spain, well, not only is it false, but it's absolutely ridiculous, especially when you look at the political atmosphere in Spain, where, of course, Catalans are a marginalized group in Spain, where, well, they're pretty much hated. Not to mention they literally fought a civil war over this, where even a Barcelona president was assassinated by Franco's forces. But let's ignore politics, let's ignore history, let's ignore facts, and pretend that Barcelona actually have influence and power in Spain or in the footballing world of Spain. The second point, the Negreira case. Now, as we know by now, there's absolutely zero evidence that Negreira influenced anything. The guy had no power. He was an honorary vice president of the CTA. He didn't even get a salary and had no decision-making, but yet they want to insist that somehow Barcelona influenced the football through the hiring of Negreira. Now, if you don't know anything about the Negreira case because you're new to the channel or you've been living under a rock, well, Negreira is a former referee, a retired referee that Barcelona had hired as a consultant so he can do refereeing reports, which, by the way, nobody tells you about that. Literally every club in La Liga does this. Every club in La Liga have some former referee on their payroll that they pay to do refereeing reports, to say, hey, this referee rules this way, this referee rules that way, these are the new rules, these are how the rules are being applied, this is how this certain referee applies this rule, etc., etc. Real Madrid have one on their payroll, Davila, right? In fact, his wife, Yolanda Parga, is on the executive board of the Royal Spanish Football Federation, but nobody talks about that. Anyways, everybody in La Liga does that. They all have former referees on their payroll. Barcelona had Negreira from 2001 until 2018 on their payroll. But of course, during those years, he was also the vice president of the CTA, which again, he was an honorary president with zero powers, didn't even get paid for that position. But of course, they're alleging that Barcelona somehow influenced football through him, even though 2 years into the investigation, there has been zero evidence that Barcelona bribed anyone or influenced anyone. I mean, are you seriously that stupid to believe this? All this was documented. All those years that Negreira was on the payroll of Barcelona, all that was documented. Barcelona paid him from their ledgers. They reported all that to the Spanish taxing authorities. Negreira reported all the payments from Barcelona to the taxing authorities. Who bribes an official and then goes and reports the bribe to the taxing authorities? I mean, this is next level stupid. And this is why 2 years into the investigation, they have found nothing. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that yes, Barcelona were bribing referees through Negreira. And yes, Barcelona were influencing the competition through Negreira. Barcelona's contract with Negreira expired in 2018. 2018, 7 years ago. How the fuck does Madrid continue to claim that Negreira is affecting them? The guy is retired. The guy has dementia and Alzheimer's. But somehow he's still affecting them. I mean, this is the next level ridiculousness. And Real Madrid, once again proving that they're a pathetic club. They're a small club who cries about everything rather than assume the reality that, hey, why are we sucking? Let's figure it out. No, let's cry. Let's throw tantrums like little children. And honestly, if I was a Real Madrid fan, I'll be embarrassed about what Florentino Perez is doing, because Madrid's supposed to be the greatest club on earth. They're the Champions League winners. We have 50 champions. We have 33 La Ligas. Well, you're definitely not acting like a great club. You're acting like a small club that cries about every little thing. And I wouldn't be surprised if Florentino is only doing this as a distraction to distract away from the state of his team. Because why is he going to FIFA? FIFA has no power here. What is FIFA going to do? Issue a letter to La Liga and say, get your shit together? There's nothing FIFA can do. The ones who empower are the CTA and the Royal Spanish Football Federation. Why isn't Florentino not going to them if this dossier supposedly proves conclusively that Real Madrid are victims? Why are they going to FIFA? Why not go to UEFA? UEFA also has power here, but they're not going to anybody who actually has power. They're going to FIFA who have zero power. Why? Because they got nothing. And not only they got nothing, they know that there's nothing going to be done because they're not the victims here. So I'm not surprised if he's doing this as a simple distraction. Hey, let's distract everyone from what Barcelona are accomplishing and how pathetic Madrid looks by talking about this dossier. Which, by the way, all Madrid are doing are harming themselves because, as I've said multiple times, and this goes to you too, Barcelona fans who are always complaining about the refs, saying that the refs are paid and that La Liga is bought and blah, blah, blah. When you continuously attack the integrity of La Liga, you're also jeopardizing yourself. Because we, as Barcelona, we've won, 27, 28 La Liga trophies. If La Liga is truly corrupt and up for sale, then that means those trophies were also up for sale. And that means that year, the highest bidder was Barcelona. Because if the competition is up for sale, whoever won it that year means they were the highest bidder. And that goes for Madrid too. You like to claim, 33 La Ligas. Well, if La Liga is corrupt, that means those 33 trophies were corrupt. That means those 33 trophies are worthless. Because all that means that during those 33 years, you were the highest bidder. Same thing with Barcelona. So again, if you're watching this and see that and like, Madrid are ridiculous, but then you turn around and you complain about the referees and say the same thing that Madrid are saying, well, you're no different than them. Because at the end of the day, you can't have it both ways. Either La Liga is always corrupt, and whoever wins it won it in a corrupt way, or La Liga is never corrupt, and well, when we won is because we were the best, and when Madrid won is because they were the best. You can't have it both ways. It's like those idiots who say the World Cup is, it was gifted to Messi, it's corrupt, blah, blah, blah. But then when Penaldo wins something, all of a sudden the football is legit. You can't have it both ways. It's either always legit and whoever wins it was the best, or it's always corrupt and it doesn't matter who wins it. And finally, my question to you is, if you truly believe that this competition is corrupt, what the fuck are you doing watching it? Why would you want to watch a competition where the outcome is already predetermined? That makes no sense to me. So Madrid, if you guys believe that La Liga is corrupt and that everybody's against you, why are you still playing? Why are you still participating in it? Why would you want to be in a competition that's not a competition, that the winner is already decided before the season even begins? Why are you bothering spending hundreds of millions signing Hoysen and Trent Alexander and Mbappe? Why are you wasting all that money? It's corrupt, right? Just take that money and pay La Liga so you can win it that year. Anyways, Madrid, get your acts together, because every passing day you're looking more and more and more ridiculous. Let's get back to the comment section, and then we are going to talk about what happened with Lamine Yamal, talking about clubs being prejudiced or players being prejudiced, or we'll talk about it. All right, let's see. Where did we leave off? Where did we leave off? I have no idea where I left off. Let's see. I think I left off here. Okay, there we go. Says, yo, Mo, I've been hearing rumors about Messi being our future Barcelona president, considering the fact... Let's first worry about Messi coming back and doing kind of like a goodbye thing before we talk about Messi running for president. Sylvan says, yo, Mo, I think I'm a bit late, but damn, I had a ball yesterday and feeling great. My birthday is on the 18th, so looking forward to another amazing game, Vizca Barca. That's amazing, my friend. Happy birthday, in case, I don't get to see you in the chat section. But happy birthday, and hopefully Barcelona can give you and all of us a great gift. But of course, more so you, because it is your birthday. I still remember remember the 5-0? Yeah, 5-0 Barcelona beat Real Madrid, where Villa scores 2 goals. That 5-0, that manita, that's the famous where Piqué goes to the crowd and starts doing the manita. That match was literally on my birthday, November 29th, and I think it was one of the greatest gifts I ever got on my birthday. So hopefully Barcelona could do the same for you against Newcastle. Nathaniel says, sup Mo, I really want to commend your great work so far. Kudos, my guy. What do you think of Lamine playing in that 10 position? Just a thought. Well, thank you, my friend. As far as Lamine playing in the 10, I think he has the capability of eventually moving into that position. I think for now, obviously, the wing suits him. That's where he's shining. That's where he's doing great. But, yeah, I could definitely see him playing there in the future. He does have the vision for it. He does have the passing ability and he knows how to combine with his teammates, something, that's very important. He knows how to assist really well. Again, something very important for the number 10 position. And, of course, he can score goals. I think eventually, yeah, he could move into that position. Jorge Serra says, what do you think about Rafinha's reaction towards starting on the bench, and what are your thoughts on him being late? I didn't see his reaction, so I'm not sure. As far as him being late, I mean, look, the rules are simple, right? If you don't show up late, if you don't show up on time, you get benched. And I'm glad that Flick is applying that rule equally, regardless of who you are. That's very important. Because, it's easy to bench, I don't know, Rooney Bardarji because he showed up late, right? It's easy to bench, I don't know, Joffre Torrens. That's easy to do. The hard thing is to bench your stars. The guys that you really, really need and really count on. My allergies are really killing me. So the fact that he's doing that, equally across the board, I like that. Because that sends a clear message to the players. There are rules. You have to follow them. And if you don't, there are consequences, and I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Lamine, Rafinha, Lewy, Messi, or whether you are, Daniel Rodriguez. So I'm glad he's doing that, applying it all across the board. Hansi, my man Hansi, you should be preparing for the Newcastle match, man. What are you doing here? Says, hi, Mo, would you be interested in our winter tryouts? I believe you'd be a great addition to our team as a water boy. Hey, I'm down. Water boy, towel boy, ball boy. What else? I mean, I can even be the guy who carries the stuff of the players. I'm all for it. I mean, I get to travel for free. I get to follow the team. I get to meet all the players. Bus driver, I could drive. I don't know. That bus is pretty big. I've driven pretty big U-Hauls, but never buses. But hey, fuck it. I'll try that out too. What else? No, you can't be a physiotherapist. You need a degree. Yeah, I think that sums it up. Water boy, towel boy, equipment manager. That's what they call it. Equipment manager. The guys who just carry the shit around, like the bags, the players' bags. I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. Can you imagine the content I'll be able to make traveling with the team? Be able to do interviews. Be able to do videos from like inside the stadiums. Hansi Flick, man. Make it happen. I'm counting on you. Rex says, Umtiti effed up. I played game and forfeit. Oh, I would have forfeited the World Cup by now. He should be active, and in 3 years, should be in Saudi raking in the Benjamin. Yeah, man, it's tough, right? Because on one hand, it is the World Cup, right? Every player dreams of winning the World Cup, and only very, very few get to reach that goal, and he reached it. But yeah, at the same time, you're sacrificing your career, right? Talk about like really tough choices. So yeah, it's tough. I don't know what the correct answer is. I don't know what I would have done. But yeah. Miguel says, hey Mo, what's up? I have been seeing something about the rules of the offside change, and it might affect the Highland. Yeah, there is a lot of talk about changing the rule, but that's not going to go into effect this season. Obviously, the season has already begun. If it goes into effect, it'll be most likely next season. Leo Fold says, what happened with the Real Madrid complaint to FIFA? I'm just joining the stream. It has not been submitted officially, but I don't want to be repetitive. Just go back and watch it when it ends. And Shin says the sleeve patches are not sewn anymore as they used to be. That's why sometimes during matches, you'll see patches hanging off sleeves mid-match because they weren't heated properly. Interesting. But I'm pretty sure the kit I have right now is sewn. Like the one that says that we were La Liga champions last season. Or maybe I'm just misremembering. I don't know. I'll check my kit after this. And last comment before we do the last bit of news. But Ronald says you should hear them now because of them on the top. I'm guessing you're talking about Madrid. But, I mean, I don't see that lasting because have you seen how they've been winning? It's not convincing whatsoever. It's the same Madrid from last season, just a different coach and different players. Well, not completely different players, but new additions. But again, this is good for us. If they want to just cry and blame it on refereeing, hey, I'm all for it, right? Because as long as they're not taking their time to actually figure out what's going on wrong and try to fix it, they can keep crying all they want. But anyways. All right, let's get back. Let's do the last bit of news, and then, of course, we'll do more comments. I was going to say more news, but no, I already said news. All right, let's do the last bit of news, and then we'll do more comments because we do have to talk about Lamine Yamal because the plot continues to thicken about what happened while he was on an international break. Now, if you don't know what happened, if you haven't watched the latest videos, Lamine Yamal, of course, was with Spain. He played with against Bulgaria, 79 minutes. Then he played against Turkey, 73 minutes. He came back. It turns out he was injured. Right? He has a back injury. It's pubic. It's no, it's not the pubic region. It's not a penis injury. It's a small bone that's part of kind of like where the tailbone is. That's where the injury is. And it stems from a lower back injury. Anyways, Hansi Flick completely went off in a pre-match press conference before Valencia, blaming Spain of neglecting their players. Now, why did Hansi Flick say that? Is because apparently when Lamine Yamal left Barcelona to join the Spanish camp, Barcelona doctors called the Spanish doctors, Spain's national team's doctors, and said, hey, Lamine Yamal has some discomfort in his lower back. We're letting you know right now. Now, what did the Royal Spanish Football Federation do? Instead of saying, all right, we're going to release him, send him back home, or maybe we're going to be cautious, watch him train, see if he's good. No, they played him against Bulgaria. And not only did they play him against Bulgaria, they played him for 79 minutes when there was absolutely no need to do that, right? It was 3-0 or 0-3 because it was an away match at the 38th minute. At the 38th minute, that match was over. And again, it's against Bulgaria. It's not like you're playing against France or maybe they can make a comeback. No, the match was over at the 38th minute, and yet De La Fuente played Lamine until the 79th minute, knowing damn well that he had pain in his back. Now, because of the pain, Lamine ends up getting subbed out against Bulgaria, which tells me Luis De La Fuente would have probably played him the entire 90 minutes, even though, again, there's no need for that. Lamine did not train because, again, the pain. And instead of sending him home, knowing that he arrived in pain, knowing that he played against Bulgaria in pain, knowing that he wasn't able to train because of pain, what does Luis De La Fuente do? They shoot him up with a painkiller injection, and they make him play against Turkey. 73 minutes, even though that match was also over at the halftime. And then they send him back home, and of course, he's injured. He had already arrived injured, he had played injured, he hadn't trained because of injury, and then he played against injured. Now, that's why Hansi Flick completely went off during the press conference. And after the press conference, what did the Royal Spanish Football Federation do? Oh, we didn't know. Nobody told us. Barcelona never informed us that Lamine had a back issue. That was their official stance. Well, now it turns out that there is proof. Actual communications between Barcelona and the Spanish national team have been handed over to some media outlets in Spain that show and prove conclusively that Barcelona reached out to the Spanish national team's doctors and said, hey, Lamine is arriving with back pain. And not only that, in these copies of communications between both parties, the Royal Spanish Football Federation informed Barcelona that Lamine had a back problem. In fact, Lamine has WhatsApps that prove that one of those days in between matches between Bulgaria and Turkey, he had to be shot up with an injection because he couldn't even get out of bed. He was bedridden, couldn't even get out of bed, so they shot him up with an injection, and then they sent him playing against Turkey. And what made Barcelona even more pissed in this communication is that even though Barcelona told Spain, hey, he has a back problem, and then Spain told Barcelona, yes, he has a back problem, confirming it, the third communication between both parties was Spain notifying Barcelona that they were going to let Lamine decide whether to play against Turkey or not, which of course completely infuriated Barcelona because an 18-year-old who doesn't know the limits of his body should not be making this decision. Football players are always going to choose to play. Just look at Umtiti that we've been talking about. He literally sacrificed his whole career because he chose to play, because players are always going to choose to play. More so when you're an 18-year-old kid who doesn't know the limits of their body, and more importantly, biologically speaking, hasn't even developed his prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that assesses risk. That part does not develop in males until 25, 26 years old. That's why when you're a kid and you're hanging out with your friends and they tell you, hey man, you should jump from the second floor into that pool, you don't even think about it. You just do it. And I know because I've done some pretty dumb shit when I was younger. But when you're older and someone tells you, hey, you should jump off the roof into the pool, you start thinking, wait a minute, let me check. Is there anything in the way? Maybe there's a balcony that might hit on the way down. Is the pool deep enough? What if it's not deep enough and I break an ankle when I hit the ground? You actually start calculating the risk. You might still jump, but you do a risk calculation. That's something that an 18-year-old cannot do. Biologically speaking, cannot do because that part of their brain is not developed. So Lamine arrives with an injury. They play him against Bulgaria with an injury. He doesn't train because of an injury, up to the point where he can't even get out of bed. They shoot him up with an injection, and then they tell him, you decide. And of course, an 18-year-old is going to say, hell yeah, I want to play. And he plays against Turkey. So of course, Hansi Flick was absolutely livid because this is beyond irresponsible. And people must say, well, Lamine chose to play. If your kid says, I want to drive a car, your 10-year-old says, I want to drive a car, and you're like, okay, here's the key, and he crashes the car, whose fault is it? Is it the 10-year-old kid that doesn't know better, or is it your damn fault? Oh, but the kid said he wanted to drive. Yeah, he did. But you're the fucking adult here. And you, Luis de la Fuente, as a coach, you should have been able to tell Lamine, dude, I know you want to play, but you couldn't even get out of bed until we shot you up with painkillers. How about no? After all, what's the point of having a coach if the coach is not going to make the decisions? So, of course, Hansi Flick was absolutely livid. I am absolutely livid because this is lack of responsibility. And it's not, again, like they were playing the final of the Euros against France. You did not need to put Lamine Yamal's health and career at risk to play against fucking Turkey in a qualifier. You could have easily won that match without Lamine. You have plenty of talented players on the field. You have plenty of talented players on the bench. You're telling me none of those guys could have stepped up in place of Lamine? You really need them? I mean, they're acting like this is Robert Lewandowski and the Polish team, where if Robert is not playing, the whole Polish team is just pretty much goner. That's not the case. Anyways, that is all the news. Let's do some comments. And then we will end the live stream. And we do have a donation. Let's go. Jeremiah says, very generous donation. Thank you so much, Jeremiah. But says, from Jeremiah, Rich Boy Valentine Flomo. But no comments, my friends. If you missed a comment, oh, I see a comment. I'm guessing you were trying to put the comment, but you sent the donation without it. Don't worry, I see your comment. Let's read it. And again, thank you for your donation. But Jeremiah says, Real Madrid is the team that have benefited the most from bad refereeing. And then any team in the world, yet they take to social media every time to display their madness, but they don't get punished. 100% agree. I mean, again, this is empirically, it's a fact, okay? It's a fact that if you look at the numbers of all the teams, because all teams benefit from refereeing errors. Let's make that clear, okay? There's no conspiracy out there to rob Barcelona or to rob out of Real Madrid or to rob whomever. All teams get screwed by refs. It's human nature, and more so when refereeing is so mediocre and horrible in Spain. So all teams get screwed by refs. But if you look at the numbers of teams who have benefited from ref screw-ups, Madrid has the highest number. They have benefited the most from refereeing mistakes. Does that mean, oh, the La Liga's corrupt? No. They just have. Maybe there's some bias that could affect that, subconscious bias, because a lot of the refs are Madridistas. But I don't think it's an actual conspiracy. I think La Liga is actually trying to get Madrid to win, prop them up, because again, if I believe that, I would not bother watching, because what's the point if it's already a predetermined outcome? But to then turn around while being the team that has most benefited from refereeing errors and to claim that you're the victim, well, that's just next level stupid. Edward says, I remember years ago when Huddersfield Town was promoted to the EPL. They were on top of the league for 3 match rounds. Then by the 8th round, they dropped to the top 10. My point, early season. Agreed. That's why people are like freaking out after Rayo Vallecano. Like, oh, we dropped points. The season's over. That's it. We're not going to win anything. Fire Flick. Fire everyone. They didn't say fire that, but I was like, guys, chill. It's 38 matches total. Like, it's a lot of things going to happen. Of course, we got to drop points. It's just everybody's going to drop points. It's impossible to go that whole season 38 out of 38 matches. I mean, is there a possibility? Yes, but it's a tiny, tiny possibility. In football, there's so many factors that go into the season, especially when the season is so long, right? You got injuries, you got fatigue, you got suspensions, you got all kinds of things, right? Bad luck. So, it's not the end of the world that we drop points against Rayo Vallecano. Season's long, and, as long as we stay consistent, I think we should be able to win it. Right, let's see. Rex asks, how would you rate the performance of Rooney, Bardarji, and Jofre Torrens against Valencia? With Rooney, it was kind of a quiet match for him, but not because he did anything bad. It's because most of Barcelona's attacks were coming from the left and the middle. But when he did participate, I saw him, that fearless. Let's put it that way. Like, he didn't seem like it was weighing on him that he was starting for Barcelona for the first time ever. In an official match, of course. He has played in the preseason. And he looked comfortable. And that's important, right? That's important to feel comfortable because you guys remember when Vitor Roque used to get minutes? He would look desperate. Like, he was so desperate to prove himself that he would just end up being clumsy, just like running like a headless chicken, like crazy, just try. Not Rooney. Rooney looked comfortable, looked like it wasn't really weighing on him that he was playing for Barcelona for the first time ever. And I like that. Again, it was a little bit of a quiet match, but I wasn't expecting him to go off and score a hat trick. I mean, it's his first match in first division football in a top league, right? He just came from the Swedish league, which, with all the respect to the Swedish league, it's the Swedish league. So I like it. I would give him a 7. Rex says, I think Barca plays better chasing or under pressure because our complacency shows once we feel we on top. Yeah, which is not good. We shouldn't have to chase because sometimes you cannot reach your goal when you're chasing. Sometimes the goal just slips away. I think the player is going to have to find a way to stay motivated all the time, not just against big teams, not just in the Champions League. They need to find a way, which is difficult, right? It's difficult. It's so easy to get motivated when you play in Madrid, but then you have to play freaking Getafe. You're like, ugh, right? But the players are going to have to figure out a way on how to do that. Let's see. Omar, I see your comment, bro. Please don't spam. I'll read it. But if you start spamming again, I will not read it. But Omar says, where is it? When will Yamal be available? When will he be available? He's ruled out for Newcastle. It's looking like it. So hopefully for the following match. But we'll see. And thank you for saying sorry for your allergies. Hopefully they go away. They should be. But for now, I just got to deal with them. Shin says, so Madrid are saying La Liga matches are written by WWE execs. That's the funniest thing I've heard all day. Predetermined outcomes. Put down the pipe, bro. Yeah, I mean, at this point, honestly, I don't know what they're smoking there. I don't know if maybe Florentino's just losing it with age, if dementia's setting in, but something's going on there. McBarca says, now Madrid crying about refs. Why didn't they make the claim in the last 5 seasons where we were getting robbed and it became normal at that point? We blamed the performance and tactics. Because during those seasons, they were winning. Oh, yeah. When you're winning, all of a sudden, the competition is legit. The refs are amazing. Everything's nice and dandy. But when you lose, all of a sudden, everything's corrupt. Referees are out to get us. Sound familiar? Unfortunately, it does, because I see it on this channel too. People saying the same thing about Barca, right? All of a sudden, when we're winning, everything's great. But when we're not, it's the ref, it's the ref. No, it's not the ref. We just didn't play better. Anyways, that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your comments, your likes, your subscriptions, your incredibly generous donations. I will be posting another video shortly, a news video, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Visca Barça.